there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our TGIF and Product Owner episode this week with Irene Castagnotto. Hey, Irene. Welcome back.
Hi. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. So we'll talk about great product owners in a minute. But to get us started, to get the appetite for the rest of the story of the POs, let's start with what might be even more interesting, the story of a really difficult product owner anti-pattern. Share that with us, Irene.
Mm-hmm. So one of the most difficult parts of the product owner that I have to deal with is the speaking with the client, speaking with stakeholder, being transparent, negotiate. So it's everything under the same pot. Because in the end, when you have to face the client, the stakeholder, you have to use a lot of skills, which are hard and soft skills. And sometimes when you miss some of them, could be very hard. So one day I was working with this PO, and we had to speak to a client, and we didn't have positive information to give to this client because what they were asking was not possible at that moment. So something that I was really shocked about was like that he didn't go to the client and say being transparent, but he was making a story. So I was so confused of the reason why he was trying to not being transparent with the client, of course, with the good words. So when I came home, I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. I was very worried about the solution. And in the end, we produced something that wasn't what the client was expecting. And then when there was the moment of the review, the client was very mad. So one of the anti-pattern is understand the difference between using good words because you have to negotiate and not being transparent, because there's a light line difference between being transparent and negotiate. So, of course, you have to work to make your team work in a good way. If you cannot achieve something, you have to deal with the client because the client has to be happy. But you have to tell, in a transparent way, what is not going to be in the development. So this one we were very confused about this situation. But in the end, I understood that it was also a deal of, it was also because the moment was not good for the PO in that moment. I understood it was a little bit panicking. And if you don't have all the tools, all the skills in your hand in that moment, it's very hard to deal with a client that is not happy. So sometimes we judged, but in the end, it was not that easy situation.
It's never easy, but if you think about it, it's if we just think about it from a mathematical point of view, when the product owner hears the anger from the client, that's one person hearing the anger from the client. But when the whole team hears the anger from the client, is many more people hearing the anger from the client. And I think, like, as Scrum Masters, this can even be a very useful kind of rule of thumb, is you need to reduce the amount of exposure to angry clients. So how do you do that? And many companies do this very well, right? Like they have what you would call an account manager or a technical project manager or someone who becomes the interface, because you can't predict when that difficult moment will happen. But sooner or later, there will be a difficult moment with the client. And we need to be ready for that. And as Scrum Masters, sometimes we might even need to, lie on top of the grenade, as they say, and take it ourselves. But the idea is that if you reduce the exposure to this anger, you improve the overall environment for the team. Now, that is not to say that we don't tell the team that the client is angry. Of course, we tell the team that the client is angry, but it's different coming from us or coming from a shouting client with a red face, right?
Yeah. At that moment, we didn't have any way to, like the dev team was there with the PO. So in that case, we didn't find a solution in this topic, about this topic. But if I see what happened in the months after, the PO was meeting alone, and then the devs. I'm not saying that this is a good thing, because sometimes I think that the devs, when they are speaking with the client, they not speaking, but when they are there and they listen, they have, like, they feel more responsible and also more happy sometimes because they see the client happy. But of course, if the client is not happy, then there's a problem. So it's hard to choose, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing that the development team shouldn't talk to the client. I'm arguing for the PO to take the responsibility of knowing that they are going to disappoint the client.
Yeah.
Do it first, right?
Yeah.
Prepare it. Have that conversation before bringing the whole team and getting them exposed to the probably not so nice words, even in some countries. I mean, I used to work in some countries where it was almost like a national sport to shout at the development team. And it's not good for anyone, right? Like the morale goes down. People feel insecure. They don't want to show up anymore. Like there's a lot of negative side effects that come from that kind of exposure.
Yeah, also because sometimes it was near, I think, near the go live moment. So everyone was working so many hours, and you can see that it was not helpful for them at the moment to see some, like, a discussion like that one. But of course, we learn from mistakes. So I think that at the moment, like, the team understood, the PO understood as well, because nothing happened after, and also the client then was not, like, he behaved in a different way the time after.
And talking about learning from mistakes, of course, not all product owners are falling into this anti-pattern. Some product owners are really excellent at the work that they do. So, Irene, share with us an example of a great product owner that you've worked with. How did they work?
One of the most important skill that a product owner, I think, has to do to work with a team is trust. So trusting the team, and at the same time make the team feel trusted. And how you do it? You do it sharing the why. So this is very connected. And when you make the team understand why we are doing this development, why we are here, why I'm asking you to change way, because sometimes happen that you have to change path. But if you don't understand the why, it's very hard to deal with. And also, the devs, when they understand why we are developing this feature, why we are following this path, they also go to the PO and they say, okay, but I think about it, and maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe we should do it this way. And then the PO say, oh, you're right, a lot of times. So when you give up to a person the possibility to think about it, and also to make themselves questioning what we are doing, it's really a good moment to understand if we are following the good path and if we are doing the good action, the good steps. So and also, but if the dev team come to you and say, oh, okay, I think about something different, you have to trust them. Because if you don't trust them, it's very hard to deal with. So it's not about just being a PO with good patterns. It's about being a team with good patterns. Because a PO with good patterns, but a dev team with negative patterns, and it also goes for the Scrum Master, of course. We cannot work alone. We have to be all together. So being together, creating this kind of environment and sharing the why is something that the PO that I see in the PO that really goes in a good way. So this is one of the best things I ever seen.
And when you talk to POs, like how do you help them understand why they need to share the why? And then also in practice, how do you motivate them and help them actually do that work? Because conveying the why for product owners, it really is a everyday work because there's a lot of things that need to be done and a lot of things that need to be understood before being done.
It's about making them lead the situation. So sometimes we also did some serious gaming that actually led to understand this topic. But the thing that I understood it works the most is making themselves inside the situation. So when you see that you are asking to the dev something and they are developing it, but it's not working, and you go through and you'll go through understanding why it's not working. Sometimes not sometimes, but a lot of time you can guide the developers to asking, but why we did it in the first place? So this is something that is very powerful to the PO because they understand why you don't need the why. I told you. No, maybe not. Maybe you didn't told us, or maybe you didn't told us in a way that we understood. So now every time we face something new, I ask, okay, PO, why we are doing this? And at that moment, the devs listen and say, okay, understood, not understood, or I don't care.
Or they have feedback or whatever, right?
Yeah. So it's
I really like that idea that when a story doesn't work or when a feature doesn't work as expected, we can use that as a source of energy, as a trigger to figure out why, right? Like, why didn't this feature work? And how does this link with the other feature that is coming up and the overall project and so on? I think that's a great tip, right? Like use that missing why to trigger the thirst and the need to start discussing the why.
Yeah, also because sometimes people are very mad about it because maybe they worked a lot or maybe
there's a lot of energy, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of energy. Yes. And sometimes it leads to good actions. Sometimes it leads just for a discussion, but it's okay. At least you understood, you talk about it. You just didn't leave it.
Yeah, at least you had a conversation about it. You created the opportunity to discuss the why. And if it doesn't happen that time, maybe it will happen next time, right?
Yeah.
We need to keep on trying. Irene, was a wonderful week. Thank you very much for sharing all of those stories with us. But we're getting close to the end. Before we go, though, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
You can find me on LinkedIn. And if you're an Italian person, if you want, I also have my own podcast, which is called Gen Z in Pillole. And it's talk about Gen Z in the world of work and also in the world of life every day. But yeah, mostly on LinkedIn. You can find me, text me, and send question if you want.
And we'll put the link to the LinkedIn profile as well as the podcast that Irene hosts. Irene, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for being with us and for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you. It has been an amazing week with you.
All right. I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.